In ancient times, what truly ruled the earth wasn't dinosaurs, but a creature many times more terrifying: the fire dragon. They could breathe fire, and wherever they went, vegetation could not grow back. Then, for some reason, they suddenly disappeared. Until one day, they were unexpectedly reawakened. Quinn lived in a single-parent family raised by his mother. Because of this, he didn't go straight home after school like other kids, but instead went to his mother's workplace. His mother was a tunnel construction worker. Although their life was hard, they persevered. However, no one expected disaster to strike at that very moment. During the tunnel construction, the workers accidentally discovered a mysterious underground cavern. Before confirming it was safe, a worker hastily urged Quinn to enter. Once inside, Quinn was shocked by the wondrous sight. The place was incredibly ancient, with peculiar rock formations that looked as if they had been melted by fire and then solidified. Just as he touched one, a fire suddenly erupted behind him. Quinn hurriedly ran out, while those outside were completely unaware. When Quinn ran out and told them there was a giant monster inside, the workers didn't believe him, still indifferent and wanting to explore. In the end, what awaited them was a terrifying sea of fire. Fortunately, Quinn and his mother had left a step ahead and were not caught by the spreading flames. But unexpectedly, as they were taking the elevator to the surface, the giant fire dragon followed, climbing up the elevator shaft. Although the elevator was surrounded by an iron cage, it was nothing compared to the dragon's massive body. In the end, the elevator was crushed by the dragon, and his mother died on the spot. Only Quinn was lucky enough to survive, and that was just the beginning. When the first fire dragon appeared before the world, in less than half a year, their numbers had grown to hundreds. By the time humans finally realized the danger, it was too late. The dragon's reproduction rate completely surpassed human imagination. At this point, researchers discovered that these fire dragons were very likely the real reason for the dinosaurs' extinction. Now, they had returned, preparing to reclaim their dominance over the planet. These fire dragons had immense destructive power. Conventional human weapons were completely ineffective against them. Soon, the dragon legions had occupied cities, and humans became their food. At this point, humanity was forced to use nuclear weapons. However, even nuclear weapons couldn't completely destroy the dragon legions. Instead, they turned human cities into rubble. Meanwhile, the number of fire dragons continued to increase. 20 years passed in a flash. The human race, which once dominated the earth, was now a small remnant. Only a few survivors struggled to get by. Quinn was one of them. He and over 100 other people were living precariously in an ancient castle. They lived in fear day by day, digging tunnels so that when a dragon attacked, they could escape underground, away from the scorching flames. But in this apocalyptic era, food became the biggest problem. People dared not go out carelessly. Fire dragons also circled the skies, searching for humans as food. And the situation this year was particularly dire. A fire dragon was circling near their base. This led to a severe food shortage inside. The adults could endure it for a while, but the children had reached their limit. So, someone suggested taking the risk to go to the farm and harvest food earlier than planned. But Quinn firmly objected. This field was their only source of food. If anything went wrong, everyone would face the risk of starvation. Seeing this, everyone had to abandon the idea. After all, Quinn was the leader here. But they didn't truly give up. They decided to sneak out of the base at night. One of them whispered a signal that Quinn was asleep. He would go get the key. Not long after they left, the watch eagle on the castle suddenly let out an alarm cry. The guards immediately recognized the danger and quickly rang the alarm bell. Everyone in the castle was instantly on alert. Quinn ordered everyone to quickly hide in the tunnels. But when he did a head count, he realized some people were missing. At the same time, the few who had gone out to gather food finally reached the farm and began harvesting vegetables. Soon, one of them noticed something unusual. A fire dragon suddenly appeared. The people had no way to resist. The vegetable patches they had worked so hard to cultivate were also swallowed by the flames. To make matters worse, their only vehicle was also burned to a crisp. The few people, surrounded by flames on all sides, fell into despair. In this critical moment, a person in a protective suit slowly walked out from the sea of fire. This person was Quinn. He had arrived with a team of vehicles just in time to save 3 people. They quickly got them onto the vehicles, not daring to linger, and immediately drove back. Unexpectedly, the road ahead was blocked by the fire dragon. Although the vehicles had been modified, they couldn't last long under the horrifying heat of the flames at such close range. A teammate responsible for spraying water from the roof of the vehicle was unfortunately burned to death on the spot. With no other choice, Quinn could only reverse and take a detour. Fortunately, the fire dragon did not continue its pursuit, but was attracted by the burning embers of the vegetable garden. It seemed it intended to make this place its nest. In the end, Quinn and his team successfully escaped, but their losses were severe. Not only were 2 people dead, but their entire winter food reserve was also destroyed. This made their already difficult lives even harder. As Quinn was trying to figure out how to overcome this crisis, an uninvited guest suddenly appeared. In this apocalyptic world, people not only had to be wary of fire dragons, but also of other humans, because resources were becoming increasingly scarce. Quinn climbed the castle wall to check and was very surprised by who had arrived. The other party was well equipped and even had tanks. They were clearly not ordinary wanderers. After meeting their leader, Quinn learned they were a formal unit of the U.S. military. Not long ago, they had fought a fierce battle with fire dragons and wanted to enter the castle to regroup. Quinn was half skeptical of their words, but just then, a bald man produced a tooth, declaring himself a dragon slayer. This tooth was taken from a fire dragon he had killed. At first, Quinn thought he was bragging, but seeing his serious expression, it didn't seem like a lie. Quinn hated fire dragons to the bone, so when he learned the man was a dragon slayer, his feelings towards him improved immensely. Moreover, the man's team had a lot of food, which was desperately needed by Quinn's community. So, he agreed to let the bald man and his group in. After the bald man, whose name was Denton, entered the castle, Quinn discovered they not only had ground troops, but also a hidden helicopter. This was a rare sight in these times. Quinn hadn't seen an aircraft in over 10 years, which further convinced him of Denton's Dragon Slayer identity. Surprisingly, the helicopter pilot was a woman named Alex Jensen. Don't underestimate Alex for being a woman. She had over 10 years of flying experience. After a few simple greetings, everyone went to their quarters to rest. Quinn then reminded his teammates to assign more people to watch this new group, just in case. Back in the camp, Quinn pressed Alex about the true purpose of their trip. In a world full of fire dragons, wandering around aimlessly was not a wise move. Quinn believed Alex and her group must have some ulterior motive, but Alex didn't reveal much, only saying they had no ill intentions. As they were talking, the alarm suddenly blared again. The guards had spotted a fire dragon. Quinn immediately organized his people to hide in the caves, while Denton calmly commanded his team to prepare a counterattack. Denton's team was well trained. The helicopter and ground forces moved quickly. 3 people on motorcycles transported ground radar equipment to a designated position, while the helicopter searched for the target from the air. Denton commanded the entire operation from inside an armored vehicle, just waiting for the radar to be in place to begin the attack. Unexpectedly, the radar equipment malfunctioned. One of the motorcyclists was spotted by the dragon. His fate was unknown. The radar network couldn't be activated in time, making it very difficult for the helicopter to track the dragon. Just then, Quinn saw black smoke rising from the mountaintop and realized a teammate might be in trouble. Without hesitation, he rode his horse up the mountain to replace the downed rider and install the radar equipment. As soon as Quinn planted the radar in the ground, the command center and helicopter received the radar signal. At the same time, Alex spotted the fire dragon preparing to attack the helicopter. They had to act sooner than planned, preparing to launch a high-voltage electric net from the air to disable the dragon's ability to fly and make it fall from the sky. Unexpectedly, the ground radar issue forced them to act early, causing a chain reaction. The high-voltage net was disabled, and only one person from the aerial team survived. Seeing the battle plan about to fail, Denton decided to use Quinn as bait to lure the dragon to a designated position. After hearing the request, Quinn hesitated only for a moment before agreeing. The fire dragon that killed his family had long been his sworn enemy. Sure enough, Quinn and his warhorse quickly became the perfect prey in the dragon's eyes and successfully led it to the designated location. Seeing this, Denton seized the opportunity. An iron harpoon shot directly into the fire dragon's giant mouth, piercing through its head. The fire dragon died on the spot. Denton's collection gained another precious fire dragon tooth. Soon, the news of the dragon's death sent the castle residents into joyous celebration. This was the first time in years they had witnessed a fire dragon being killed. Since each fire dragon had its own territory, this meant that for a long time to come, they wouldn't have to worry about dragons anymore. So, the people of the castle spontaneously organized a celebratory feast. However, when everyone was looking forward to Denton joining the celebration, he remained cold. According to him, trading the lives of 3 teammates for 1 fire dragon was not worth it at all. So, he was in no mood to celebrate and chose to mourn his fallen comrades instead. Denton's words also touched Quinn's heart. After a day of rest, Denton decided to leave. It turned out that Denton's army had fought many fierce battles with fire dragons. Although they paid a heavy price, they had successfully eliminated over 200 fire dragons. They also made a startling discovery. All the dragons they had killed were female. Realizing the severe imbalance in the dragon's gender ratio, they began targeted research. After tireless efforts, they finally discovered that in the entire fire dragon population, there was only 1 male. And that male dragon was the very first one discovered by humans. Quinn knew that dragon very well, because it was the one that had killed his mother. The true goal of Denton and his group on this trip was to eliminate that male fire dragon. This was humanity's last hope. At this point, Denton also made his request. His team, after several major battles, was severely short on manpower. So, he wanted to recruit new members from the castle. But after hearing this, Quinn firmly refused. He had seen that male dragon with his own eyes. Both its size and fighting strength were several times greater than a normal fire dragon's. He believed Denton was going on a suicide mission, so he firmly opposed anyone going with him. But Quinn underestimated Denton's influence as a dragon slayer. When Denton offered to recruit members, people immediately volunteered to join. This quickly got out of Quinn's control. Seeing more and more people eager to participate, Quinn suddenly flew into a rage and directly started a brawl with Denton as he was still recruiting. The two immediately wrestled with each other. Denton was a soldier, so his physical strength was naturally far superior to Quinn's. Fortunately, others quickly intervened and with great difficulty managed to separate them. Although Quinn tried his best to stop him, Denton eventually left with 4 people, including Quinn's adopted son. In his heart, Quinn knew Denton's decision was right. This was their only chance to defeat the fire dragons. But because of what he experienced in his childhood, he carried a deep-seated fear of that particular dragon. So, even knowing his own decision was wrong, he didn't have the courage to change it. In the end, he could only watch as Denton and the others left. After Denton left, Quinn went alone to the dead dragon's corpse. Inside the carcass, he found an undeveloped egg. In that moment, he once again confirmed that Denton's decision was correct. Without destroying the male fire dragon, humanity would have no future. Elsewhere, Denton was leading his team towards the area of Old London. The closer they got to the city, the more difficult the path became. It was filled with steel ruins everywhere. Soon, their convoy was blocked by debris. Alex Jensen, in the helicopter, reported that the next few kilometers seemed to be blocked by ruins as well. They had to find another way. So, Alex flew the helicopter to find an alternative route. But not long after Alex left, Denton and the others saw a giant fire erupt not far away. Everyone knew what that meant. Under Denton's command, everyone immediately entered a state of combat. But at this time, Alex Jensen's helicopter was not there, and it was night, severely limiting their visibility, which was extremely disadvantageous. What Denton didn't expect was that this dragon was the very male they had been searching for. Its body was clearly much larger than other fire dragons, and its combat power was several times greater. Although Denton's side was carrying heavy weapons, they were almost useless against this male dragon. Fortunately, Denton managed to hide under an armored vehicle just before the dragon's fire reached him, but his other teammates were not so lucky. The flames quickly engulfed them. When Alex Jensen returned in the helicopter, she found that the entire team was gone, except for Denton. Before Alex could even ask about the situation, Denton urgently signaled her to return to the castle, because the direction the dragon had just left in was towards the castle. Sure enough, the people in the castle were still sound asleep, completely unaware of the danger. A fire dragon nearly as tall as the castle was lurking outside the window. At the same time, Quinn, on his way back, also saw the glow of fire from the castle's direction. He immediately realized something was wrong and rode his horse frantically back. But by the time he reached the castle, it was already engulfed in fierce flames. The dragon was still circling in the air, continuously breathing fire onto the castle. Quinn stealthily slipped into the castle and found that, thanks to their thorough preparations, most of the children had been moved to the underground cellar. But tragically, more than half of the people had still perished in the sea of fire. Quinn was preparing to go out and save more people, but the powerful blast of air had jammed the cellar door shut. After an unknown amount of time, the noise outside gradually subsided. Quinn then gathered everyone to try and open the door. Just as he was trying to push it open, someone from the outside was also trying to open it. It was Denton and Alex Jensen who had returned. This attack had turned the ancient castle into a pile of ruins. Years of hard work had vanished in an instant. This completely awakened Quinn. He decided he had to destroy this male fire dragon. Denton found an explosive warhead and a crossbow in the armory. They fashioned some weapons and prepared to head to the dragon's lair to begin the final battle. This time, Quinn took on the role of the guide. The three of them boarded the helicopter and quickly reached the dragon's living area. The dragons there were dense in number, far more than outside. They also observed that since most humans were in hiding, the dragon's food chain had nearly collapsed, leading to them starting to cannibalize each other. The male dragon was brazenly preying on its own kind. Faced with this horrifying scene, the three couldn't help but feel a sense of fear. But no matter what, they were determined to end everything here. However, how to approach the male dragon became a difficult problem. Fortunately, Quinn was extremely familiar with the underground tunnel system in this area. Under Quinn's guidance, the three of them moved through the tunnels. After a grueling day and night, they finally reached the construction site where the first dragon was discovered. According to Denton's strategy, the moment the dragon opened its mouth was their best chance to attack. They planned to shoot the explosive bomb into the dragon's body, igniting the flammable substances within it. This was the only way they could kill the dragon. Once they had the chance, they would not hesitate, even if it cost them their lives. Soon, the three separated to take their positions. While moving, Quinn was suddenly attacked by the dragon. Fortunately, he wasn't injured, but in the process of dodging, he lost his bow and arrow. Just as Quinn was at a loss, Denton and Alex Jensen reached their designated positions. Alex was responsible for luring the dragon, while Denton waited high above for the right moment. Although Alex was filled with fear, she mustered all her courage and rushed out, successfully attracting the dragon's attention. Denton waited patiently from above. The moment the dragon opened its mouth, he fired the explosive bomb. But unfortunately, the bomb detonated prematurely upon hitting the dragon's scales. Although this attack caused some damage to the dragon, it wasn't fatal. The dragon turned and charged towards Denton. Seeing this, Denton swung a giant axe and engaged the dragon head-on. In the end, Denton died heroically. But their fight was not over. With Alex Jensen's help, Quinn found his lost bow and arrow. This time, he no longer chose to hide, but decided to face the dragon head-on. The dragon was also enraged by the tiny human before it. It charged directly at Quinn, which was exactly the moment of rage he was waiting for. He decisively shot the arrow. The arrow flew straight and accurately into the dragon's giant mouth, causing a massive explosion inside its body. Although the fire dragon was covered in tough scales, it ultimately couldn't withstand an attack from within. Finally, its giant body collapsed to the ground. Quinn had successfully taken his revenge, and at the same time, saved the future of all humanity. Soon, 3 months passed. Humans gradually returned to life on the surface, and traces of fire dragons became rarer. Having lost their ability to reproduce and their food source, no matter how powerful a species, it could not escape the fate of extinction. At the same time, survivors from all over the world began to contact each other. The Earth was once again in the hands of humanity. And that's where our story ends today. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, please give us a like and subscribe to the channel to support us. Goodbye and see you next time.